How's it going, netizens? To be honest, I've only seen things like this in history. I mean, Canada, you could say its territory is the second largest in the world. And of course, the population isn't much, right? About 40 million people, isn't it? But still, it is. Part of the qualified members being openly treated like this, insulted, and told they would be annexed. Wow. Do you think this has been seen in history? I have never seen it. I have never seen it. This is truly shocking. Questioning the survival of others. That is, questioning the annexation of such a large country like this. I really have not seen it in history. That is, before the Second World War. Before the First World War. That is, even before the First World War. Such things rarely happened. During the Second World War, Hitler handled Czechoslovakia like this. And then Austria, but it was not such an open insult as this. A president, a White House spokesperson, a vice president insulting people like this, I have never seen this before. I have never seen such treatment of a major sovereign country. Amidst tense US-Canada relations, Boston is hosting a four-nation military bowl competition. Is this part of the World Games? The previous events were filled with intense athletic competition. It has turned into a geopolitical political struggle, becoming a political issue, which is very rare abroad, but quite common in China, in countries like Canada and the United States. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. Winning brings happiness, and it won't turn into a politically hostile action. In the end, Canada won 3-2. Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau immediately tweeted to US President Donald Trump to boast about Canada's victory. Let's take a look at this incident first. Because of the continuous threats from US tariffs and pressure on Canada, people say that if you joke about it a few more times, it stops being a joke. If you speak seriously and say something insulting, it's not a joke. Can I joke about sleeping with your wife? Can this be considered a joke? Now, if you keep saying it like this, you can't treat it as a joke. Moreover, after the Canadian premiers met with Donald Trump in the US, they came back saying that Donald Trump is not joking. He really wants Canada to become the 51st state, and he will use all means to force Canada to become the 51st state of the United States. This is to completely suppress Canada. This makes the atmosphere tense. Even before the game starts, Donald Trump on social media invited Governor Trudeau to watch the game together, which is as meaningless as Xi Jinping inviting Governor Lai Ching-te to watch the game together. All right, that's the whole segment. The great American hockey team will absolutely and undoubtedly completely defeat them. And tonight, if Canada joins the US, they will have significantly much lower taxes and much more security. Become our fifth, a state, all right? If they want it the most, if Governor Trudeau wants to join us, he will be welcomed. That's for sure. That's for sure. That's what Donald Trump said. And then he said it like this. Of course, this is the most serious thing for him. If Donald Trump speaks at a level 10, this person speaks at a level 15. Regarding this game, that transcends the realm of ice hockey and extends into the political arena, I hope the American team can once again give Canada a hard time. Because you know, the American national anthem should not be booed if Canada can't win the game. Tariffs will be even higher. And then he said he was joking. But this joke is not about being afraid of offending Canada. It's about being afraid of offending Donald Trump, because this is Donald Trump's decision. This person is unbelievably sycophantic. Then the White House spokesperson said, looking forward to the U.S. defeating Canada, which is about to become our 51st state. Republican participant Ted Cruz was also incredibly boring, saying that if we want the U.S. team to win, we will own Canada. The mainstream media in both the U.S. and Canada said this match was like World War III. This is a live report of the Third World War. The inaugural four-nation ice hockey tournament includes top players from the US, Canada, Sweden, and Finland, representing the best of the North American Hockey League. Top NHL players did not participate in the Olympics. In 2018 and 2022, this tournament is the most star-studded event in the past decade in the hockey world, featuring top-tier ice hockey teams from the US, Canada, Sweden, and Finland. In the preliminary match last Saturday, the US defeated the Canadian team 3-1, and the atmosphere was already very intense. Canadian fans booed the US national anthem, and there were 3 fights within the first 9 seconds of the game. After the second fight, the game continued with a surge of momentum as the US team advanced towards the Canadian goal. Suddenly, 2 more players started fighting. Due to the large number of players involved, the referee intervened to stop it. Ice hockey, right? It allows a certain degree of fighting, you know? Have you seen that movie? The one about rough guys playing hockey? Ice hockey is the most violent because they wear full protective gear. NHL referees adopt a semi-open management approach towards fighting. When players start fighting, the referees usually let them go at it for a while, waiting until someone falls or the situation gets out of control before stopping it. This method allows players to vent their emotions, reducing the accumulation of malicious fouls, which is better for the game overall. A legal fight requires both players to agree to fight, like asking, "Are we fighting?" and then proceeding. They communicate verbally to reach a consensus on fighting. They cannot wear gloves, as those can cause significant harm. If they don't remove the gloves, it is considered intentional harm. Once someone falls to the ground, they cannot continue attacking. Once the referee intervenes, you cannot continue attacking. Otherwise, you can kick, and if you go out, you can kick when you're out. All right, about that preliminary match. The United States ultimately defeated Canada 3-1. 2 weeks later, in the qualification for the finals, Canada defeated Finland and also advanced to the finals. To compete with the United States, they finally faced off in the finals. This time, the intensity of the finals was even greater, with the patriotism of both teams reaching its peak. Some players said, this was not just a game, but a battle for the national flag. From social media to fans on the sidelines were challenging each other, some even directly exchanging insults. Before the kickoff was the Canadian singer performing the Canadian national anthem. Rivet Zucker. He changed the lyrics in response to Donald Trump's threatening remarks about the 50th state. And this one, he changed his lyrics. We have a true patriotism. Cycle to true patriotism. Change to two-page love that only US command. Meaning, after this only US opened, Canada scored first in the first period, and the US caught up in the second period, taking the lead with the second score. Canada caught up with 1 point, ending the third period at 2-2. In overtime, at 8 minutes and 18 seconds, Canadian hockey star corner McDonald SMC Davids scored a goal to win the championship. Yes. After the victory, Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau promptly posted a clear recollection on social media, referencing Donald Trump's post, "You cannot take our country, nor can you take our game." Look, hockey is like Canada's national flag. You need to understand that Canada is the birthplace of ice hockey. Whether it's field hockey or ice hockey, this skating sport involves a lot of physical contact. Hockey in Canada holds the status of a national sport, and for Canadians, ice hockey is not just a sport, it's a part of national identity. In the field of hockey, the United States has long been losing to Canada. Later on, the strength of American hockey improved, and the competition between the two countries became increasingly intense because the United States has money, a large population, and in the north, there are areas with similar climates. In 1920, at the Antwerp Olympics, ice hockey was included as an Olympic event for the first time, and Canada easily won the championship. With their overwhelming advantage, the United States barely managed to compete with them in 1996. In the World Cup of Hockey finals, the United States defeated Canada 2-1 for the first time, which Canadian fans saw as a significant event. The United States began to realize that they had the opportunity to become a world power in ice hockey. In 2002, the final between the two countries was seen as Canada's chance for revenge for 1996. In the end, Canada defeated the United States, marking a significant victory for Canadian ice hockey culture. The lead up to this four-nation hockey tournament was marked by Donald Trump's frequent controversial remarks. The tariff war intensified the atmosphere of the event, and this tournament had a significant impact on both countries. The Canadian Pro-Media Ledger shows, "Let me talk about the polls. I'm only talking about the issue of tariffs and the annexation of Canada." The Liberal Party's support is at 33, trailing behind the Conservative Party's 40. They've caught up quite a bit. And in a moment, I'll give you a public opinion poll. Because Donald Trump's remarks have increased the Liberal Party's support by 10%. As for the US polls, it was found that 44% support. Donald Trump's support. Approve is at 48, disapprove is at 47, very close. Back in January, it was very wide. Very wide. And now it's narrowing. Some polls have crossed the golden intersection. As for the rising prices, this is the golden intersection. This is the poll from Donald Trump's first term. And this is the poll from Biden's first term. Now, Donald Trump is here. Donald Trump is here. Donald Trump is here. All right. Do you oppose or support Canada merging into the United States? In the US, 36% support Canada merging into the US, while 42% oppose it. The opposition is just a few percent more, only 6% more. But it's not the same in Canada. 77% of people oppose it, while 15% support it. I was talking to someone. I told Chung, once you join the US, you become a US citizen, and that's it. Opposing joining the US. Among all Canadians, 77% oppose it and 15% support it in different regions, with the most opposition in the Atlantic. In the Atlantic, 85% are opposed, while the most support comes from poorer areas like Perry Province. British Columbia is also quite supportive, while in Ontario, which is very close to the US, there are a dozen or so percent in favor, but over 70% oppose it. As for the political parties, the New Democratic Party has the most opposition at 90%, with 86% of Liberals and more Conservatives in favor. The Conservative Party, in this election, originally talked about adopting Donald Trump's policies on deporting immigrants. These include reducing expenditures and such things, but now it's not about make Canada great again, like with Donald Trump. Previously, it was 42 to 29, but now the Liberals' popularity has greatly increased. Together with the New Democrats, they can surpass the Conservatives.